All right, so we're diving into performance management today.
And more specifically, positive reinforcement.
Yeah, it looks like we've got some excerpts here from a textbook.
Textbook chapter, yeah.
All about how organizations use it.
Mm-hmm.
But as we talk through it, I think it'll be pretty clear how this stuff applies to ABA work too.
Definitely.
So to kick things off, one of the first things that really jumped out at me from this chapter was this idea that if you don't plan it, you're probably not going to do it.
Yeah. The book says, if positive reinforcement is not planned, it rarely happens.
Yeah. And that's
so true.
So true. And it's like, it's one of those things, it's so simple.
Right.
But I think we all, kind of know it deep down.
Yeah.
But maybe don't always act on it.
It's easy to forget.
Yeah.
I mean, in ABA especially, we know reinforcement is like the key to behavior change, but without a plan.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, are we really being consistent? Are we missing opportunities?
Right.
Are we accidentally reinforcing the wrong things?
Exactly.
So planning is essential.
Okay, so let's get into this planning a bit more.
Okay.
So the chapter outlines 6 core steps and starts with pinpointing desired results and then identifying the behaviors that are going to get you there.
Right. Starting with the end in mind, basically, which we do all the time in ABA, right?
Absolutely.
We're thinking about goals. We want those goals to be measurable and observable.
Absolutely.
So that's a natural fit.
And then, even the next step.
Okay.
Setting those sub-goals along the way.
Yeah.
That really reminded me of task analysis.
Right. Breaking things down into manageable steps.
Oh,
it's like that old saying, how do you eat an elephant?
Right. One bite at a time.
Exactly. One bite at a time, make it less overwhelming, and you can reinforce those small wins along the way.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So we're like 2 for 2 here with ABA, but then the next step is where things got a little, more unexpected.
Yeah, themes.
Themes.
Right, yeah. Like, isn't that something we usually think about for, like, kids' birthday parties?
You would think so, but the chapter actually argues that themes can be incredibly motivating for adults, too.
Oh, interesting.
Whether it's in a workplace setting or even personal goals. Yeah, and the examples are pretty wild. Like, there's one about Gravy Day at this company, Tennessee Eastman.
Gravy Day?
Yeah, so the executives...
What is that?
They actually served breakfast to employees to celebrate exceeding production goals.
So they were in the gravy. I get it.
That's it. But you see, it's not just about the food, right?
Right.
It's about creating a shared experience, a way to make that success tangible and memorable.
Yeah, it's not just a bonus check.
Right.
It's an actual event.
It's a celebration.
Yeah, with a fun theme.
And a theme that sticks with people, strengthens that association with achieving the goal.
To the good feelings of achieving the goal. Okay, so I'm intrigued. What other examples do they have?
Oh, they had like this one 3M engineer. He declared war on this faulty machine that kept breaking down.
Okay.
And he had daily casualty reports of like broken products and stuff.
So he really
committed to the bit.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I bet it really boosted morale.
Yeah.
Got people thinking creatively about solving the problem.
Well, and it's like, who doesn't want to be on a winning team, even if it's against a machine?
Right. Exactly.
Okay, so I'm seeing how this could apply in, a workplace. But what about an ABA?
Well, think about it this way.
Okay.
Themes can really help kids grasp expectations, visualize their progress, and just make the whole process more fun.
Yeah, and more engaging, for sure.
Right. So let's say you're teaching a child to clean up their toys.
Okay.
You could turn it into a toy rescue mission.
Ooh, I like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Or a tidy town challenge.
Ooh.
Something that taps into their interests.
Yeah, creates a narrative that resonates.
That makes sense. Okay, so we've got Gravy Day. We've got the War on the Machine. Any other fun themes in here?
Oh, there was one more that stuck out to me.
Okay.
This IT department used a dead monkey jar.
Oh, what?
Dead monkey jar, yeah.
Okay, I have no idea what that is.
So basically, every time someone helped a colleague with a problem, they got to remove a plastic monkey from this jar.
Oh, interesting.
So it's like a visual representation of teamwork and progress.
That's clever.
Right. And, maybe sparked a little friendly competition, too.
I could see that.
But the takeaway, I think, for ABA is that visual aids and creative themes, they can make abstract concepts more concrete, more engaging.
Right, which is so important.
Especially when we're working with people who might struggle with abstract thinking.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So it's not just about what the reward is, it's how you present it.
Yeah.
How you frame the goal.
how you make the whole process meaningful.
Yeah, meaningful and fun.
And fun, that's key.
It all comes back to planning, doesn't it?
It does.
Really thinking strategically about how to make that goal more rewarding and enjoyable.
Exactly.
All right, so we've talked about themes. What else is in this planning reinforcement section?
Well, the chapter also talks about using a variety of reinforcers.
Okay, so not just using the same old thing over and over again.
Right, and I love how the chapter points out that the economic value of a reward isn't everything.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Sometimes it's the novelty or the unexpectedness.
Yeah.
Or how personal it is that makes it truly reinforcing.
Makes it special.
Yeah.
And that's so important for us in ABA, right?
It is.
Because we know that what motivates one person might not do anything for someone else.
Right. Everyone is different.
Exactly. So we need to be thinking about individual preferences, interests.
Finding those creative ways to make reinforcement exciting.
Yeah, and individualized.
Yes.
Can't just rely on stickers and candy all the time.
Right.
We got to think outside the box a bit.
Think outside the box, exactly.
So things like social praise, privileges, access to preferred activities, and then even, incorporating elements of their favorite games or hobbies.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
It's all about personalization.
Absolutely.
And thinking about who delivers the reinforcement too, right?
Ooh, yeah.
Could it be a peer, a family member, another professional?
Yeah, so many possibilities.
So many ways to be creative and make it more engaging.
Okay, so we've got the variety piece down. What else does the chapter highlight?
Well, they talk a lot about celebrating successes.
Okay.
And not just the big milestone.
Yeah.
Even small wins along the way.
I like that.
They deserve acknowledgement and celebration.
Absolutely. Celebrate all the wins.
Yeah, and they tell this great story about a maintenance crew.
Okay.
At Arkansas Eastman, they were having this celebratory meeting, but everyone was kind of grumpy.
Oh, no.
Yeah, but then their supervisor turned it around by focusing on each person's individual contribution.
Oh, interesting.
Highlighting how each person played a crucial role in achieving the goal.
Okay.
And that shifted the whole mood.
I bet.
Yeah, it's amazing how just acknowledging someone's effort can have such a big impact.
Makes them feel seen.
Makes them feel seen, valued, appreciated.
Yeah, appreciated.
Yeah, and it reinforces that we need to give specific and descriptive praise.
Right. Not just good job.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Tell them what they did well and why it mattered.
And I think this is a good point for us to reflect on too, right?
Absolutely.
Like, are we taking time to celebrate our own successes, both big and small?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
And are we creating opportunities for our clients to experience that same sense of accomplishment and pride?
Such an important thing.
It is.
Okay, well, this has been a really interesting look at planning reinforcement.
Yeah, I think we've covered a lot.
But the chapter goes on to discuss some other really interesting aspects of performance management.
It does.
But now I'm curious.
Yeah.
How does all of this apply to individuals?
Yeah, to personal goals, right.
Exactly.
It's a great question because sometimes those self-improvement plans, they just kind of fall flat.
They do.
And, a lot of what we talked about, it does seem very focused on workplace dynamics.
Yeah.
So how do we translate these ideas to personal growth?
Right, when it's not tied to a job.
Right.
Yeah, how can we use these principles to achieve our personal best?
Well, I think it's important to remember that these principles are universal.
Okay.
Whether it's motivating a team to hit those sales targets or encouraging someone to learn a new skill, the basic principles of behavior change are the same.
So those 6 core steps.
Yeah.
The themes, the celebrations.
All of it.
It all still applies.
Absolutely.
Okay, so remind me.
Okay.
One of the things that stuck with me from the chapter was this idea of criterion-based systems.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
We talked about it in terms of performance appraisals, but how does that work with personal goals?
Well, the key here is setting clear objective standards.
Okay.
And rewarding yourself when you meet or exceed them. And it doesn't matter how anyone else is doing.
Right, it's like that example in the chapter where the employee got a bonus if their efficiency was over 110%, regardless of what their colleagues were doing.
Right, you're only competing with yourself.
I like that.
Yeah.
How do we apply that to things like learning to play the piano or training for a marathon?
That's a good point.
Like, those aren't as easy to measure as, sales numbers or something.
That's where creativity comes in.
Okay.
So think about breaking your goal down into smaller, measurable steps.
Okay.
So if you want to learn a song on piano, your criteria could be mastering a certain number of bars each week.
Okay.
Or if you're training for a marathon,
yeah,
maybe you increase your mileage by a set amount each week.
Oh, I see. So it's like setting those mini milestones.
Exactly.
And celebrating each step of the way.
Exactly. Celebrating those small wins.
Yeah.
And it takes the pressure off of comparing yourself to others.
Right. You're just focused on your own progress.
You're focused on your own progress, yeah.
I like that a lot.
It's about becoming a better version of yourself.
Yeah.
Not about proving you're better than someone else.
Which brings us back to that whole Employee of the Month thing.
Oh, right. The dangers of competition.
Yeah, and how focusing on the wrong type of competition can be so detrimental.
And this is especially true with personal goals, right?
Yeah.
It's so easy to get caught up comparing ourselves to others.
Oh, it's so easy.
Especially with social media.
Oh, don't even get me started on that.
Right. It's like everyone's highlight reel.
It's all curated.
And we start feeling like we're not good enough.
Yeah, comparison is the thief of joy.
It really is.
So how do we avoid that trap?
That's where these criterion-based systems can help. It gives you that framework for evaluating your progress without getting sucked into the comparison game.
Right. Because it's about your personal best.
Your personal best, yeah.
Not about being the best.
Exactly.
This reminds me of that concept of mastery learning.
Oh, interesting.
That they use in education.
Yeah, tell me more.
So basically, students progress through the material at their own pace. And they don't move on until they've mastered the current level.
Right. So it's not about everyone learning the same thing at the same time.
Exactly.
It's about everyone reaching a certain level of understanding.
Yeah. So it's not a race against others.
No.
It's a journey of self-discovery.
And mastery.
I
like that.
You get to appreciate the process of learning and growing.
Yeah. You're not focused on keeping up with the Joneses. You're focused on your own growth.
Oh, okay. So we're using celebrations.
Yeah.
Criterion-based systems. And a healthy dose of self-compassion.
It's all connected.
To fuel that personal growth. But what about those wacky themes we were talking about earlier?
Oh, the themes.
Can we use those for personal goals too?
Absolutely. They can be just as effective.
Okay.
They help you visualize the goal, make it more fun, even create a sense of accountability.
So instead of just saying, I want to get in shape, I could have a theme like Operation Six-Pack Summer.
That's a good one.
Or Mission Marathon or something.
Exactly.
So I'm basically turning it into like a fun adventure.
You got it.
With a catchy name.
And maybe some themed rewards along the way.
Yeah, okay.
Makes it more enjoyable, takes the pressure off.
I could see.
And it can be a great way to involve friends and family, too.
Oh, that's a good point.
Create that support system. A sense of shared accomplishment.
All right, so themes are back on the table.
Back on the table.
But what about competition?
Okay, interesting.
Because we talked about how internal competition can be
detrimental,
not so great, but we also know competition can push us to be our best.
It can, yeah.
So how do we apply that concept to personal goals?
That's where the chapter makes a really important distinction.
Okay.
It's about competing against yourself.
Competing against myself?
Yeah, not against others.
Okay, what does that even mean?
It means setting personal challenges, striving to improve your skills, pushing yourself beyond your comfort zone.
So I'm basically trying to beat my own personal best.
Exactly. You're becoming a better version of yourself.
Yeah.
Not trying to prove you're superior to anyone else.
So instead of comparing my progress to others, I'm using my own past performance as a benchmark.
You got it. It's all about self-improvement.
I really like that.
It takes a focus off of external validation and puts it on your own growth.
It's like that saying. The only person you should try to be better than is the person you were yesterday.
That's a good one.
I love that.
It's all about growth, progress.
Becoming the best version of yourself.
On your own terms.
This makes me think about how I talk to my clients.
Oh, interesting.
Especially the ones who are struggling with motivation or self-confidence.
Yeah.
Maybe instead of focusing on external comparisons, we can help them develop that internal drive.
Yeah, that intrinsic motivation.
To challenge themselves.
And celebrate their own progress.
Exactly.
It's really about empowering them.
It really is.
And that's what these performance management principles are all about.
Yeah, it's not just about productivity in the workplace.
Right.
It's about helping people thrive.
Thrive in all areas of their lives.
I'm so inspired now to revamp my own personal goals.
I love it.
And apply some of these strategies.
That's great.
I'm already thinking of some fun themes.
Oh, that's awesome.
And figuring out those mini milestones.
That's what it's all about.
This has been such a great conversation.
Me too. I really enjoyed it.
But before we get too carried away with our own personal growth plans, we have one more piece of the puzzle to explore.
Oh, right, we do.
Contests. So can competition actually be a good thing? Or is it always a recipe for disaster?
That's the big question.
Yeah.
And I think the chapter we've been looking at, it takes a really balanced approach.
Okay.
Recognizing that competition can be both beneficial and destructive.
It can be.
It all depends on how it's done.
Right. And we talked earlier about how internal competition in organizations can create all these problems.
Right, like resentment.
Resentment, demotivation, lack of cooperation.
It can pit people against each other.
Yeah, instead of working together.
Instead of fostering teamwork.
What the chapter also says that competition can be a powerful motivator.
It can.
Especially when it's used in a way that promotes fun and collaboration.
It's about channeling that energy into something positive and productive.
And that's where contests come in, right?
That's it.
It's about creating this structured environment.
Yeah, where competition is used strategically.
To engagement and achievement.
Exactly. So contests, when designed effectively, they can really tap into our desire to achieve, to excel, while also encouraging teamwork and camaraderie.
So we're finding that sweet spot where competition actually becomes a good thing.
Right. And it motivates people to reach their full potential.
All right, so how do we design these magical contests?
Right?
The chapter gave some guidelines, didn't it?
It did, and one of the most important ones is to keep them short.
Okay.
To keep that interest and excitement going.
Short and sweet.
Yeah, think weekly, monthly, quarterly.
Yeah.
Not year-long things that just drag on forever.
Right, those can really lose steam.
They do.
It's all about creating that sense of urgency.
Exactly.
Keeping everyone focused.
Focused on the goal.
Yeah, like short bursts competition can be really exciting.
They can.
But when it's drawn out,
it
can get a little tedious.
It loses its appeal.
Okay, so short contests.
Short contests. What else?
Well, they also recommend focusing on symbolic rewards.
Okay.
And bragging rights.
Instead of like big tangible prizes.
Instead of big prizes,
Interesting.
So it's not about the material stuff.
Right.
It's about that feeling of accomplishment, the recognition, the glory.
Like those old arcade games.
Oh, yeah.
Where the real reward was getting your initials.
I'm on the high score list.
Yeah, it was all about the bragging rights.
The bragging rights, exactly.
And those symbolic rewards, I think they really tap into that intrinsic motivation.
That desire to achieve.
Yeah, that feeling of, I did it.
It's about proving it to yourself.
And the chapter also talks about competing against a standard.
Yes, instead of each other.
Instead of each other.
So it's not about one person or team winning at the expense of others.
Everyone's working together.
Towards a common goal.
Yeah.
So success is measured against that fixed standard.
This makes me think of that competitive benchmarking idea.
Oh, right, yeah.
Remember, you're comparing yourself to your best competitor.
Or industry leader.
And setting goals to either catch up,
to close the gap.
Or widen the lead.
Exactly. So you're using competition as a motivator for innovation and improvement.
Not to tear others down.
Right.
It's about striving for excellence.
But in a way that benefits everyone.
Okay, so we've got short contests, symbolic rewards, competing against a standard.
Right.
Is there anything else we need to keep in mind?
Oh, there's one more big one.
Okay.
Make it fun.
Of course.
Above all, contests should be enjoyable.
Right. If it's not fun,
it won't work.
No one's going to be motivated.
Exactly. And the chapter talks about creating this carnival atmosphere.
I love that. At work, where people are just excited to participate in the contest.
It's about injecting a bit of playfulness.
Playfulness, lightheartedness.
Yeah, to make people feel comfortable.
Comfortable taking risks.
Trying new things.
And pushing themselves.
That's where the magic happens.
It is.
And we can apply this to personal goals too, right?
Absolutely. Like setting a fitness challenge with friends.
Oh, yeah.
Track your steps, your miles, your workouts.
You could have a leaderboard.
Yeah.
Awards, silly prizes.
Have fun with it.
Celebrate each other's progress.
It makes it a social activity.
Yeah.
And that helps people stick with it.
That social element is so important.
It is.
It provides that support, that accountability.
That camaraderie.
Yeah, we're more likely to stick to our goals.
Absolutely.
When we're having fun.
And doing it with others.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It highlights the power of community.
Yeah.
Shared goals.
When we're working together, we're more likely to stay motivated, support each other, celebrate those wins.
So to sum it all up,
Yeah.
Contests can be a great tool for motivation.
They can.
But we need to keep those guidelines in mind.
Absolutely.
Short, symbolic rewards, compete against the standard.
And make it fun.
That's
key.
Competition should be a force for good.
It should.
A way to inspire and empower ourselves and others.
To reach our full potential.
I've really enjoyed exploring these ideas with you.
Me too. It's been a great conversation.
And I hope our listeners have gained some valuable insights that they can apply to their own lives and work. So to our listeners,
yes,
thank you for joining us on this deep dive.
We hope you enjoyed it.
Keep exploring these concepts, experiment with different approaches.
Find what works for you.
And remember the journey of continuous improvement.
It never ends.
There's always something new to learn.
And something new to try.
Until next time, keep diving deep, stay curious.
And keep striving.
And never stop striving for excellence.